Hey guys, it's been a while since Jon Boat Part 1, and this is Jon Boat Part 2. Last summer I realized I wasn't going to get it done before shrimping season, so I kind of put it off and got on to some other things that were a little more important. And I'm standing out here. I figured I'd do the intro to this video out where it's going to eventually live when I get it done. I got a lot done. We've gotten, the transom put on, a lot of fiberglass bottom work. I'd say within a couple weeks, if I get a day here and a day there, we'll get a little celebration and turn this boat over and work on the inside a little bit, just enough to get a motor on it and see how it runs. And then once we see that it's worthy of the sea, we will we'll pull it out and we'll finish the inside. Maybe, I don't know if it's worthy of leaving. Maybe we'll just maybe we'll leave it in for the summer or something like that. But I'm gonna flip the camera around. This is our little dock here. It's made for a jet ski, but it's about 12 foot long. The boat's 14 foot, and I can pull it up a little bit, so I think it should float on there pretty good. Anyway, this is where it's going to live, and so enjoy the video. It started out as 40 minutes of video, and I try to condense it down as best I could. Okay, welcome back to the build. This is part 2, the Jon Boat build. Major task for today is getting this transom done. I was lucky enough to go to a boat store and make some measurements. The guy was real happy to let me do it with the intention of me possibly buying a motor from him. So I got some critical dimensions. The transom height's going to be 16 inches. The dimension to the first seat is going to be 22 inches roughly from the back of the transom. So those were a couple things that I really need to know. So we have that information, and then the transom is going to be made out of 3 pieces of plywood, 2 pieces of 3/4, and then a piece of 3/8 sandwiched in the middle, and it'll all be resin bonded together and then screwed and whatever. So what we had to do, or what I think after mocking up a couple pieces outside, is make the back transom a little smaller than the front piece, because as the transom pieces move forward, they actually need to be slightly bigger. So I've got this piece, and then I've got this larger one cut out, so I can fit it. But I wanted a nice blank to work with, so it'd be easy for me to just sort of trim a little bit off each edge, and also they need to be angled just slightly. We got the one of the bow pieces put in already, and when we go outside I'll show you that. Okay, the piece that we got in is just this front piece. I took a 1-inch piece of maple hardwood, and I had to cut a kind of a compound miter there. And then the plywood, I actually took some fiberglass and some filler and filled in the gaps and then glassed it in as best I could, hold it in place. Now, this piece ended up short, so we resulted in this. So I just made sure that I can just trim that, and you know, once it's glassed over, it's no big deal. But anyway, so the front piece is in, and our transom pieces are cut. And right now we're gonna we've got the angle cut on the first transom piece. You see that slight angle. We also need to angle this side. Alright, this is going to be kind of hard to show, but you can see I made the one bigger than the other, and as I'm fitting this thing, I'm trimming it with the angle cut there. What I'm going to do, the back one, I've got to keep trimming until it gets low enough so that this matches up the height, because I want this to be nice and straight. So anyway, I'm going to keep trimming this back one little by little until they match up. Okay, basically I've got a bunch of screws, fiberglass resin between the layers, a bunch of screws that just barely came out on the other side, so I'll file those down. But I wanted them that long so it would pull it up real good. And then I'll sand the top flush. That center one I just left long so I could contour it to everything. So, and I got a few screws in the side here. The main strength of this is going to come from the fiberglass. Alright, we got us a full roll of chopped mat. This is what we're going to use to glass the inside and the outside. It's 1.5 ounce cloth, which I'm pretty sure means it weighs 1.5 ounces per square foot, I think. Okay, so, and then these supplies came from this company here. It's called fiberglasssite.com. I ordered it 2 days ago. It shipped the same day. That big roll there is 104 pounds. So I don't know if you're not on the East Coast, you may want to find someone on the West Coast because the shipping it really changes. Okay, so basically I put a front support on there on one side because I sighted down the boat and I wanted to make sure that the transom and the front were in the same plane. Pardon the pun. Okay, so, and then from there, all I did was just Put some blocks under there. This concrete floor is pretty good, flat, whatever. And then I just stapled in some bracing, just to eyeball it, kind of the curve and the shape that I wanted there, because I need to ultimately flip this thing over and work on the bottom. So I'm gonna try and get in some, maybe I don't know what to hold it. I stapled these up at the top because eventually there'll be a rail run around there, and it'll cover the little staple holes. So at this point I'm gonna glass tape the seams on the inside. That'll help it hold some shape too, and then try to work on getting this thing flipped over. Alright, so everything's probably not cured, but it's nice and dry, and I actually went over it with a 100 grit sanding disc just to kind of, I don't know, just to smooth it a little bit, see how it's going to look. This side here, I got to within about 2 feet, or about a foot here, and maybe, well, a foot and a half down there. So I'm actually going to take and run from here, wrap around about 6 inches with just some short pieces. So it'll wrap 6 inches down on this side, like it did on this side. And then I'll wrap full pieces, I think all the way up and over to finish it off. I think it'll be easier to work with strips going this way than strips going that way. So a little bit of a change of plans. I mean, it wasn't that hard to work, but over there I think it's just going to be easier to do it that way. And I'm not building the Queen Elizabeth here, so anyway, that's how we're going to do the other side. Let's see, a couple things I'm learning here. The wetter the better. And I took the lid to the resin here, and I'm using it as a sort of like a scraper. So I can scrape up any excess that drips down there. And then I just sit it up on the thing there and let it drain out. But yeah, air bubbles are your enemy when it comes to fiberglass. You want solid glass and resin. And on that other side over there, I wasn't getting enough wet down first, and when you roll back over it, it seals in those air bubbles. So if you get enough resin down first, it seems to work easier, because then you press it into the resin and you don't get many air bubbles. And I'm really liking this chopped strand. It's easy to sort of move around a little bit and conform to corners and whatnot. I'll just show you this one little corner here. I'm just kind of rolling it over that edge there, nice and wet, and you can see there's an air bubble right there. If you can get enough resin on it, it'll sort of weight it down. And the corners are the hardest part. But I found if you just keep working them there a little bit, they'll eventually work themselves out. And then once you move away from a spot, it's nice to come back to it a little while before it sets up and just make sure any new bubbles haven't formed. That's pretty good on that corner. I mean, it's filled. There's a little air underneath it, but that's in that crack there. And so orienting the fiberglass this way was a good decision, I think. Using that thing as like a scraper to get the drips up so you don't have to sand them later. That works out pretty good too. Alright, so we're calling it a day. I've got the other side totally done with, wrapped down, like I said, about 6 inches. I got one extra piece on the transom. I'm really going to be beefing that part up, as well as these corners here to support that. I had a spot here that I totally screwed up, so I put a 4-inch patch down there, and I got a nice piece on the front there too, and all the corners wrapped real nicely on there. So now we're also going to get some runners that run straight down through there, about 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, and they'll be like diamond shaped, or pyramid shaped rather. That just allows you to steer the boat and keeps the boat tracking properly and that sort of thing. If you look under a Jon Boat, you'll see what I'm talking about. So we'll probably do that next, and might even paint the bottom. I'm going to use just a heavy nap roller and some marine paint. Probably going to do a light blue bottom and do a white top. It'll all be textured. It won't be a really nice finish, but it'll be the blue will stop where the water line is. Where the water line, when the boat sits in the water, the natural water line will have the water line down blue, and then from there up white. And probably just buy a factory rub rail, like with that rope insert to go around the outside. Nothing fancy. And then get the seats put in the inside, and then I got to go through the inspection process to try and get it registered and whatnot. I did a little research on that, and I just hope it goes well. So that's it for now.